And welcome back to Hero Power. This is episode 35. Something like that, yeah.
35. That's right. I like the original show notes invitation.
Yes. It's been a busy week. I have been sending a flurry of emails back and forth to all different places. I've been busy at work, so yeah, it's been a little crazy. But we're here, kind of. We know what we're doing, kind of. And we know what show number we're on. So I call that a win.
Kind of.
That's right. It's Shark Week. You know that I love you guys because I'm even
Yeah, we were almost minus Versika because it is Shark Week. But guys, I am your host Avantes, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts Zeroshio,
The legendary,
and Shark Sika.
Shakira.
Yeah, no, guys, you don't understand. Versika lives and breathes Shark Week.
Well, when I was a kid, people, other boys, I guess, they were looking to be policemen or firefighters or something like that, and I was firmly set on being a marine biologist. I mean, I knew the Latin for most of the sharks' names before I could spell big words like tomorrow.
So the question is, yes or no, Sharknado?
No.
Good.
Just no.
Okay, it's not too far.
I'll give you a real question. Mako or Great White?
Oh, that depends on where you're at, sir.
Right underneath you.
If you're in the open ocean, you better pray it's a great white. If you're in close to shore, you're probably not going to see a mako anyway.
Yeah. All right, guys.
I am a shark. I didn't want to be a shark. You didn't know?
Yeah. Well, before we get this show on the road, Versika, why don't you tell us a little bit about our partners over at Viforce?
Well, so coming into today, I had this nice little piece all written up, and I was excited. I went in with sort of like a script going, and then they just derailed my whole day by putting out an announcement on Twitter saying that they will now finance your Viforce purchase. So as soon as this show is over, go to heropowerhs.com, click on the Viforce link, and go check out their stuff, because now you have zero excuses not to at least see what they have to offer. Zero. Not Zeroshio. You have Zeroshio excuses to not go see Viforce.
I don't know. I have a lot of excuses.
Oh. Yeah, so we'll discuss that a little more here a little later in the show. Like you said, you can find that link at our website, which is heropowerhs.com. We have no emails this week, guys, so if you have any questions about the show or any of the decks we play, you can send those to heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can go to our website and click on the Contact Us link and just fill out the form. It's that easy.
But we have an iTunes review.
We do have an iTunes review, and we're
Good
really
job,
excited
guys.
about it. So, it is a 5-star review from Boyd 2029 titled Great Dudes, Great Podcast. Says, this is my favorite Hearthstone podcast. These guys do great things for the Hearthstone community in Knoxville and across America. They broadcast originally on Twitch, but you can still listen to the podcast without needing to see it. You are really missing something special if you don't download this show. Thank you, Boyd. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
We love having you come out to our events that we run in Knoxville, and look forward to seeing you at the next one.
I could eat this week.
Yeah. Boyd's actually in the chat with us tonight, so thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
So I can satiate chat just a little bit. Yes, the beard has not come back yet. I had an interview for a job today. I've got a couple more interviews lined up. It may be a little while. Growing a beard for me is a delicate process. It takes more than just a couple days. So maybe in the future, let me get a job first.
All right, guys, let's jump.
See this? It looks like this 2 days after I shave it.
I get that after like maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah. Actually, Alex just goes, and it just pops out.
He just drinks a
If
you guys are-
That is not a lie.
If you guys are listening to the audio, go watch the video to see me like try to blow out my eyeballs.
He just
All
drinks
right.
a can of cream
Well, you would blow
spinach.
those out before you blew out a beard, sir.
Shush. All right, guys. I'm going to move this on away from my beardless talk into the news.
So, wait a minute. Before we go, and I didn't have time to put this in the show notes because somebody interrupted my game of competitive Overwatch.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, seriously. So I had somebody approach me in the chat while I was playing through one of my matches over the weekend, and they didn't want to send an email because they didn't want to put their name out there. So I'm not going to say who it is, but they kind of took me to task a little bit on my opinions on Priest being competitive in the current meta. They gave me several examples where they have seen that Priest not only is competitive, but actually sort of dominates. So I didn't get a chance to get my full explanation out before you logged off. I know you listened to the show, so here's my response. Yes, in some of today's decks where you put a single threat on the board at a time, there is no better class to control that than the Priest. If it is spec'd out to be a true control Priest, one threat at a time, it can handle easily. So yes, you are correct. Games that go towards that make it past round 7, I'm going to say, Priests usually have a pretty good shot at winning if they have completely sold out on the control route. The problem is that most of the decks that you play have applied significant pressure before turn 6. Usually by the time you start lining up those control threats, you're really behind and it doesn't take much to finish you off. So I'm sticking by my guns and saying that I don't believe that Priest is as competitive in the current meta as before. You gave me a specific example. You're very correct. But there's probably 2 decks out of each of the other classes that I would put in front of a controlled Priest at this point. If you're looking to climb the ladder, if you're looking to play in a tournament, you can counter meta with a controlled Priest. And if someone's bringing, let's say, a control-y Dragon Warrior, you may be okay in trying to counter that with a control Priest. But for the most part, right now, you can't mass eliminate with Priest very well, and it's all about board flood right now. So thank you. I didn't want you to think that I got angry and just didn't respond to you. I'm kind of wordy. I was typing out my response. You left, so there's my response.
To kind of go off that point, this week on episode of Happy Hearthstone, I guest hosted and we discussed the meta, and we specifically talked about this, not specifically in Priest, but in the whole game as a whole for all the classes. There are times where a specific class has good deck archetypes and very good effective decks, but the meta does not allow them to be successful. And if you just give it a little bit of time, let the meta change, those decks, maybe with a little bit of tweaking, can become successful again. So I definitely urge you to check out the most recent episode of Happy Hearthstone. If you don't listen to Josh Augustine and his show Happy Hearthstone, you should. It's a very good show. You catch it on iTunes or GameDiplomat.com.
Yeah, it's also the longest running Hearthstone podcast.
It was the first.
Yeah.
One more thing on this point. I know you love playing Priest. Continue to play Priest, even if everyone else says it's not very good. You're looking at the guy, or you're listening to the guy that was playing Shaman back when Shaman was the worst class to climb on the ladder, and I won with it. If you like playing Priest and you're winning with Priest, then by all means stick with Priest. Dance with who brung you.
There you go.
Sorry.
All right, so let's jump into the news. This past weekend was the America's Spring Championship, where we got to see the top 8 from prelims finally battle out to decide who was going to BlizzCon. And after the first day of competition on Saturday, we were down to our top 4 players, which were Cydonia, Rosti, Napoleon, and Joster.
Joster, my boy.
And so I just want to say congratulations to all 4 guys. They did a fantastic job of getting to this point. But, as they say in the Highlander, there can be only one. And this weekend saw Cydonia rise above the rest of the competition.
Mm-hmm.
He played extremely well, going back and rewatching his matches. And he will be the spring champion who will be competing at BlizzCon this November. Did you guys get a chance to watch any of the tournament this weekend?
Every minute.
Okay, so Versika, let's start with you. Give us your thoughts.
I think you're seeing that the tournament meta has followed the ladder in shifting back to a more aggro-centric meta. Honestly, I think Cydonia was playing the best out of everybody there, especially on Sunday. And I thought that his lineup was very balanced. To kind of reiterate what the casters were talking about, Joster's lineup was meant for a more control-oriented meta, a lot like what we kind of saw in the EU. But that didn't happen, and that gave him a very bad matchup against Rosti. Cydonia and Napoleon's kind of caught a little bit of flack we talked about before the show for his emotion with his match with Cydonia. And I personally like seeing people passionate about the game. I'm passionate about the game. And if I were competitive and passionate about the game, I would imagine that I would want to wear that on my sleeve. I would want people to know I care about what's going on. I care about being good. I care that I may have misplayed here. And you can say that maybe he didn't misplay or that he did. But there were several plays he made where I would have made a different play. But he's a pro. I'm not. But, I thought that was a good matchup. But Cydonia versus Rosti, I feel like, was the matchup of the day. I feel like the two sets of decks paired at each other in a way where it was a red versus blue. I liked seeing the two different styles. And I felt like Cydonia's deck, while it was less, I'm going to say less inventive, I think that you got to see Rosti hide some possible suspect plays through the aggressive nature of his decks. And I think with Cydonia, when he misplayed, it cost him. Every time he misplayed, I feel like it cost him. So, in the end, I feel like that last game, going down to 7, Hunter versus Hunter, mid-range Hunter versus mid-range Hunter, you got to see the two different styles of mid-range played against each other. And I just thought it was an epic conclusion to a really well-played weekend of Hearthstone.
Okay, so to pair it, Man at Arms, and I was thinking the exact same thing. How about Nerf and Dragonhawk? What's that all about, huh?
It was
swear,
when he laid that down, I was just like,
that whole series of plays was like in slow motion. I'm like, he picked Dragonhawk. Why would he pick Dragonhawk? Oh, look at those POs. He's playing the Dragonhawk. Surely he's got to find a way to kill the Dragonhawk. Kill the Dragonhawk. Kill the Dragonhawk. You got to kill the Dragonhawk. Like, I'm screaming, you got to kill the Dragonhawk. And he doesn't. And what was that? 9-9 with Wind Fury, 18 points of damage. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to have that foresight and going, Dragonhawk is a horrible card. But seeing he hasn't been able to remove any of my other small threats from the board, surely it'll survive one turn, and I've got double PO in my hand. What's he going to do?
While Young Dragonhawk may not be a great card, I still feel like it showed Wind Fury is one of the more powerful abilities in Hearthstone. And when you can get a minion that has Wind Fury, it's game-changing, game-altering, sometimes game-finishing. So,
definitely. Now, we did have some...
when it's a 9-9.
We did have some requests, and I want to take some moments to talk about Joster, but before we get to that, we did have some requests to talk about Napoleon, and I know we talked about it pre-show a little bit.
Yeah. Let me just read that, because Cydonia did a AMA after the championship, and the very first question he got was, a lot of people have been condemning Napoleon's behavior at the championships. What are your first-hand impressions? And Cydonia was very gracious and said, I don't want to answer for him, but Napoleon is pretty young and can be extremely shy and uncomfortable in social situations. Also, he is very emotional. I really respect him for rising to the challenge and putting himself in these situations, even though he was clearly not in his comfort zone. Also, he came to see me afterwards in the players' room to congratulate me and shake my hand, which must have been pretty difficult for him given how disappointed he was. He can be difficult to interact with and can be misunderstood, but he is extremely smart, and I hope he can overcome his difficulties and accomplish great things.
Yeah, and I want to kind of key on that a little bit. To play at this level, you have to have a high level of confidence. At the spring prelims, we saw a lot of different players that didn't make it on to the top 8 or even top 16, the top 24 for day 2 of the spring prelims. But every single one of them, if you spoke to them, were going to not only make top 8, but go to Blizzcon. And that's the mindset you have to have. And sometimes that can come off as being overconfident or egotistical. But if you don't have that kind of confidence in yourself, you're not going to succeed. Now, with that, those that have that confidence at a younger age have not always learned that kind of a skillful art of being confident, but not in a off-putting way. And I think Napoleon is a great kid. He's obviously very, very, very accomplished in the Hearthstone competitive scene. I want to see more of him. Sometimes the plays and the bad manners that they do in the game aren't always indicative of their personality. Sometimes that's just to throw your opponent off. That's another tactic. And we've seen it used before where people stall like they've disconnected just to burn out 3 turns later really fast and finish off a game. So I don't think that Napoleon was bad or inappropriate. He followed every rule. He didn't break any rules, so I think it's just fine. It's just good. It's competition, and obviously afterwards, as proven by Cydonia, he was very gracious and congratulated Cydonia for winning.
Yep.
Well, you're looking at a game with millions of players, and like you said, playing high-level Hearthstone requires a certain degree of intelligence. Sometimes that intelligence does not come hand in hand with the social interaction instinct. And, I mean, well, let's just face it, out of the Final Four, Joster was by far the most personable. And I was actually
having fun.
I was actually less put off by Napoleon's demeanor and attitude than I was by Rosty's. In fact, I muted every time he came on to talk in between because something about it just rubbed me the wrong way. You're going to have that. You're playing a game that, fortunately, all walks of life can compete and be successful in. So you're going to have those people who don't quite grasp social interactions in the politically correct way that I want to say, and I'm using the term normal loosely, that the average person would have a normal conversation. They don't understand why what they say and the tone in which they say it may offend somebody. You can have 2 people saying the exact same thing. One person says it in a tone one way, one person says it in a tone in the other way, and it comes across in totally different ways. So we have to cut these guys some slack. Most of them, I'm willing to bet, have probably never been on television. And I'm willing to bet that if they are streaming, they're fairly new at streaming. And when I say new at streaming, I'm going to say sometime within the last year. I don't even know if any of these guys stream, except for Joster. I think he started. But, you know, it's one of those situations where you don't know the guy outside of what you see on screen, so it's very hard for us to make that judgment on their character and their demeanor. So we should give them the benefit of the doubt until you get a chance to know them in a more relaxed setting. It's just kind of like interviewing the losing quarterback after a football game. You're not going to get a very good interview. I mean, They lost. They wanted to win. Everyone wants to win. What would you expect? Would you expect that they were happy to lose? You know, he expressed it in a way that was probably going on in his head without going through a filter that maybe we have, maybe you have, maybe I don't, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think we should cut him some slack.
Yeah. But so Zeroshio, what were your overall thoughts of the championship?
Overall thoughts is I was really happy how it played out. I will say that going into the championship, I did look at the lineups, I did look at the decks, and the one I wanted to be the favorite, Joster, because he qualified out of our spring prelim in Knoxville, Tennessee. He had a really bad lineup for pretty much all 7 decks of all 7 players' lineups. It really didn't look good. I will say this. I wanted him to win it. I did not expect him to make it out of the top 8. I believe that PNC matchup was the best play I've seen out of Joster. He made some really key decisions to win unfavorable matchups. And for that reason, I thought he might be able to pull off at least a berth into the grand finals because of his play. But he just got outplayed in the semifinals against Cydonia. And it's not indicative of him specifically. He definitely is a great player. He just was just short of Cydonia on that day. And I commend him for his play. I commend all the players. Cydonia definitely deserves to win it. But you have to remember these top 4 guys will be at the summer prelims because they got at the minimum of 15 HCT points, and the cutoff for spring prelims was 10. So expect these guys that got in the top 4 to qualify and go to spring prelims and
fall.
Summer prelims. Yeah, summer. To the summer prelims that are coming up in August. And we have a link in our show notes to those key dates. I hope that Joster can make it up to our location. I don't know. We don't know in any of the venues if we end up hosting this year or not, or this season or not.
Yeah. So, all right, let's actually talk about those. That kind of sets us up. Good job, Zeroshio. Sets us up to talk about our next topic, which is they just announced the last call key dates for BlizzCon. So, as we've talked about, the summer season ends July 24th. So, if you're playing in a Tavern Hero qualifier, all those events must be in and done before July 24th. The summer season points cutoff is August 5th at 3 a.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. Then the America's Summer Preliminary, as Zeroshio just mentioned, will be August 19th through the 21st. And the America's Summer Championship will be September 17th through the 18th. The European Preliminary is August 12th through the 14th. And the European Championship is September 24th through the 25th. Now, the last call event. If you guys are not familiar with how last call works, the September, basically it's on points only. You have to have the HCT points to qualify for the event, and the last call cutoff is October 3rd at 3 a.m. Pacific. Now, there is a asterisk here that says the September ranked play season does not count towards last call points. So you need to have all your points in by the end of August, I'm guessing.
For the ladder.
Yeah, for ladder. Yeah,
you can compete in any HCT-sponsored tournaments in September, and those count.
Yeah, September
as long as they
ladder
meet the deadline.
Count. So the last call tournament for the Americas will be on October 15th. For Europe will be October the 8th. And of course, it all leads up to the Hearthstone World Championship at BlizzCon, November 4th and 5th.
I love watching the last call tournament. Oh, yeah. It's a great tournament to watch.
And we know 2 of the Americas, and that's Amnesiac and Cydonia now.
Yeah. That's true. So we're looking forward to seeing. Actually, we know for BlizzCon,
We know more than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We know the European and APAC. We don't have the China. We won't have the China numbers until right before BlizzCon.
Right now, we've got 7 qualified. We've got Amnesiac, DDA, Hanoi, Naaman, Breath, Cydonia, Handsome Guy, and Tice are the 7 we know so far.
Speaking of confident people being off-putting, if you don't like that, don't watch an APAC tournament.
Oh, yeah.
They all think they're good, and they have no problems telling you.
I love watching the APAC tournaments because they are so electrifying.
Yeah. That's a
you
good
would
way to
think
put it.
if someone won their round, I don't care if it's the quarterfinals, semifinals, or grand finals, they won BlizzCon. They are the world champion, and their destiny already has the trophy. I love watching APAC. You don't always see the most ingenuitive decks. A lot of times it's very much net deck cut right from the cloth of the meta. But, man, the way they play them is different.
Yeah.
And the way they react to wins and losses. And you can tell that they're literally staring at their opponent from across the table, looking them right in the eyes, going, "What you doing? What you doing? What you gonna do? Come on, just stop roping, hit, go, end turn."
Yeah.
And I love it. I love watching it.
And that's not to say that they're not to be taken seriously, because I think the last 2 years have proven that the APAC region can produce some pretty serious competition, and their unique play style and some of the choices in their meta decks, they throw quite the curveball, and that's made a splash at the BlizzCon tournament.
Tiddler Celestial that came out of the APAC?
Yep.
And he was running roughshod over the deep end of BlizzCon and came up just short. He was exciting. I loved watching him.
Yep.
That was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, that was 2 years
ago. Yep.
And then I don't remember the name of the APAC contestant that came through last year that made a big splash.
The Pimping Ho?
Well, I was rooting for Pimping Ho, but
because he beat Purple.
I think it was someone else.
There was somebody else, but Pimping Ho was the one that Pimping Ho ended up beating Purple twice in that tournament.
Come on, I'm a shaman guy. You think I don't root for Pimping Ho?
All right.
I even like the name.
So lots of good Hearthstone left to be played this year, guys. There's lots to watch. So we've given you the dates. Be prepared. It's going to be fun. All right. That brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl. And as it says in my show notes in big letters, it's about time.
This is the one I've been waiting for.
Welcome to ShiftCon. Swap stories with fellow shifters at the Tavern's Shifter Convention. Choose a class. We'll fill your deck with shifters and spells. So this is all about Shifter Xeris. If you're unfamiliar with Shifter Xeris, he's a legendary from Whispers, 1 mana, 1/1, and each turn he is in your hand, he shifts into a different minion.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely random. You never know what you're going to get. And they do give you the added bonus of allowing you to start with 2 mana crystals, and then you gain a 3rd at the start of your first turn.
Yep.
So, theoretically, if you go second with the coin, you could cast a 4 mana minion on turn 1.
That's right. So,
I know how Versika feels about this. We'll talk about it in a minute. Zeroshio, tell us what you think about this Tavern Brawl.
I liked it. Now, did I like it as much as I thought that I envisioned it being? Kind of like the web spinners and the unstable portal? No, it fell a little short of my expectations, but it was very, very fun. I played 10 games and went 6-4. So it wasn't like a high win rate, and there's a lot of random involved.
Mm-hmm.
But I played it all with Shaman.
Oh.
And I will say if you get the card, the MVP for me is Far Cry. It is 3 mana, draw a card. It costs 3 less, which is actually one of the
Farsight.
That's right, Farsight. See, I'm not a
You had me confused.
Yeah, me too.
video game Far Cry.
I've been playing Far Cry 4 all week, so
Farsight. Farsight. 3 mana, draw a card. It costs 3 mana less. Now, to me, it's a horrible, horrible card. But when you obviously draw a card and it ends up being Shifter's Heiress, it reduces it to 0, and you're thinking, well, that's not really much benefit. I got 1 mana off. But then next turn, it turns into Nefarian for 6 mana. Boom.
So it retains the bonus.
It sure does.
Interesting. Okay.
And what's even better is if you get other minions that reduce costs of stuff in your hand when you draw them, it retains those too when Shifter's Heiress changes. So anything like I can't remember. I got it while I was playing. Emperor Thorson. There's also the priest minion that whenever you draw a card, it's 1 less out of Whispers. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
But those type of cards will reduce Shifter's Heiress, and it also keeps a reduction when Shifter changes, which makes for really interesting play.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It definitely had some really... I had one game where I got Dreadsteed.
Oh, nice.
And that poor Dreadsteed wreaked havoc over my opponent until I got another Dreadsteed. And then I got a Baron Riverdare. Next thing I know, my board is filled with Dreadsteeds because of Shifter's Heiress. And my opponent, boy, they went through the entire game. They were great. And I just slowly picked them off here and there, and ended up winning. But I think I only had like 7 cards left in my deck when we were done.
Nice.
Because they would kill all my other minions, but they wouldn't kill the Dreadsteed because, well, of course, it's just going to come back.
Channeling your inner Avantis.
That's right.
That's what you
Woo! All right. Well, before we see, here's the big bubble. Before we switch over to Versika and watch him pop it, let's talk about chat. Chat said they love this brawl. Mr. Nasty in chat says it's pure RNG. He loves it. Matt at Arms says he's shocked at how much he loves this brawl.
Shadow Fiend.
Shadow Fiend was the name of the card, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Viforce.
So, all right, Versika, ball's in your court.
Well, you're going to be pretty disappointed because I don't have a lot to say.
Did you play this brawl?
I did. I played a whopping 3 games, lost my first 2, won my third, and I took my cards and I went home. I do not like this brawl. I do not like it, Sam. I am. Did not pass go. I did not collect 200 gold. I went straight to WoW jail and left.
Well, I've played 5 games. I'm 2-3. I've been working, well, and the reason is because I have win 5 Tavern Brawls this week.
Mm.
And
see, that's when you hit that little X in the top corner, and it gives you a new quest.
But I also have win 5 as a Warlock. So I've been playing today as a Warlock.
I'm sorry.
Which has been really fun because I can draw extra shifters each turn into my hand. And if my opponent gets a board full, I can just cast Twisting Nether. Or I've actually had Doom in my hand once.
That's amazing.
But my favorite has been Renounce Darkness.
I see what you did there.
Renounce Darkness in this Tavern Brawl has been a blast.
Whoa, mind blown. But wait. So you get...
All right, so
That's
now
amazing.
we need a graphic. We need a graphic with the little purple smoke coming from
The little jet commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right?
Okay.
I'm trying to comprehend that. Yes.
I need a squelch.
You squelch me.
So, all right, guys, go out, play the Tavern Brawl. 2 out of 3 hosts recommend it. We're like dentists.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about this Tavern Brawl. While this has not necessarily met the expectations I was hoping it would do when I heard about the leak of the Shifter's Eris brawl. This is a type of brawl that I would like to be able to go to my brawl, do a drop-down list, and pick one. And do this whenever I feel like doing it. It doesn't have to reward me a pack. It doesn't have to give me any kind of special bonuses. I want it to be like an adventure mode where I can go and replay an adventure mode, replay the Web Spinners adventure mode if I want, and just have fun. But I have to wait until this brawl rolls back around before I can ever enjoy it again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say that if you were playing this brawl with a friend, like if I were to play this with Avantes or Zerotio or Espo, I can see where it would be fun, especially if we were mic'd up and talking to each other.
We might just pull one out after the show or something. I don't know.
It's a good idea. Patron episode.
Honestly, I don't like it against random strangers. This is one of these brawls where I feel like there should be a benefit to getting to play with someone you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. So, all right, guys, go out, enjoy it. It's fun. Check it out.
I recommend squelching your opponent on your first turn.
Yes, because when you take forever to do your turn because you're trying to figure out what changed to what and now change your game plan, man, the WoW emote is it's the new BM.
Yeah.
And
Spectacular.
Yeah.
I got greetings a lot because I was trying to work through my plays.
All right, let's talk about this week's deck. So, as we mentioned earlier, Cydonia won the NA Spring Championship, and one of the decks that really kind of led the way for him this past weekend was C'Thun Druid. And now, this deck has been seen a lot on the ladder, but it's really gone through a lot of iterations. And one of the iterations was played weekend before last during the was it the APAC? Yeah, when Handsome Guy won, and he won on the back of C'Thun Druid as well. So his is a little different. We decided to talk about Cydonia's. And so we're going to just jump right into this. The deck consists of 2 Innervates, 1 Living Roots, 2 Raven Idols, 2 Wild Growth, 2 Wrath, 1 Bran, 2 Disciple of C'Thun, 1 Twilight Elder, 2 Swipe, 2 C'Thun's Chosen, 1 Fandral Staghelm, 1 Nourish, 2 Azure Drake, 2 Druid of the Claw, 1 Harrison Jones, 2 Dark Arakoa, 1 Sylvanas Windrunner, 1 Twin Emperor Veclor, 1 Ragnaros the Fire Lord, and 1 C'Thun. So now, Zerotio is going to be driving tonight. So I know you've gotten to play it quite a bit. Give us a little bit of a rundown on the deck.
Well, first off, I've been playing C'Thun Druid for a while since Whispers came out, and it's been successful. The type that I run, it's a little more C'Thun-centric than this deck is. There are times, I'd say mine has performed a little better on the ladder, but again, it's based on the meta. This is a great tournament deck, and it actually hasn't been terrible on the ladder. A few notable changes that are different than my deck is I don't run Fandral on mine. I love Fandral, but I haven't found a place in it, and mainly because I didn't have a lot of the pick to choose one cards. But they substituted in a few things and took a few things out that I didn't have, like Nourish, the Druid of the Claw. Actually only ran one of the Druid of the Claws because we had the taunts and the Dark Arakoas. But having those Nourishes and having the Druid of the Claw really make Fandral useful. If you can get Fandral innervated out and then possibly innervate out a Nourish or one of those other choose one cards or even a Raven Idol, you can really get some good value out of your Fandral. And that tends to be the key to winning. If if you get Fandral in your hand but don't get any good value out of him, you usually have a hard time coming back. Now, the games I didn't draw Fandral at all, I actually were more successful. But when I was able to get Fandral and a choose one card with it, those games I pretty much blew out my opponent. So it takes a little bit of a learning curve because it is a little bit more strategic deck than the normal C'Thun Druid that you see in the ladder. But I love this deck, and I've ran some good success with it. I played 5 tester games to figure it out. After my 5 tester games, I went 10-1 with this deck.
Okay. Versika, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I was the one that suggested it, so that should give you your first clue. No, actually, I do like it, and I like it better than Handsome Guys, especially as far as a tournament setting goes. I feel like it has a nice balance of effects, threats, and you're not necessarily depending on C'Thun to win the game. I actually found that a brand Twin Emperor was usually pretty handy. That's actually how I closed out most of my games. I waited until I could cast them both. Innervating out a Fandral is very good, but I had more success when I innervated out an Elder and forced them to use early removal on the Twilight Elder, and then I cast Fandral and usually comboed him with a Wrath or a Raven Idol. Patience is the key. You have a few cards in here with effects that you probably need to use on the turn that they come out if you really want to get a lot of value out of them. Or you play heavy C'Thun minions first and you save them till most of the major answers are cast by your opponent. Mm-hmm. Now, the version that I ran, I did run this the same as Zeroshio. And I played it in about 5 or 6 tester games without making any alterations. I did change a couple of things afterwards. I found that the Twilight Elder seemed to have more of an early game impact. So I actually removed one of the Raven Idols and threw in a second Twilight Elder because of just the threat factor early. It scared a lot of people into using elimination that I really wanted them to use early. He has a tendency to draw out Hex and Polymorph, and his 4 toughness make it hard to be removed early.
3 mana, 3/4. That's a good card.
Yeah, and like Zeroshio, I took out the Druid of the Claws because I had the Dark Arakoa, and I did miss the charge from the 4/4 because I was actually never using them as a 4/6. But I felt like on the ladder I was needing a little more removal, so I did put 2 mulch in the place of the Druid of the Claw.
Okay.
Yeah, I will say my version of the C'Thun Druid more relies on early pressure, getting good tempo on the board, and using C'Thun as a win condition. Where this version, if you get a decent-sized C'Thun right when you hit turn 10, it's worth putting on the board in the meta that it's designed for. Again, the meta it was designed for is for the tournament meta, where they're not seeing a lot of polymorph, hexes, instant removal. Mm-hmm. Where on the ladder you see a little bit more instant removal because it's needed. You're expected to be able to put down the C'Thun, it does its effect, and then you might get a turn where you attack with it. So this one, sometimes you have to play it a little more aggressive and get your ramp early. If you can get a good 2-mana lead on your opponent, you're really gonna rake in those games. Again, mine I put in Mire Keeper and to get a little bit more ramp, and I have a little bit more in the way of taunts and sustain in my deck, where this one isn't as much.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, nothing on the ladder scares me more right now than a turn 4 Innervate Dark Arakoa, or even a turn 2 double Innervate Dark Arakoa, just because it's so hard to get rid of early, so hard to deal with, and it just beats you down.
I have with the coin turn 1 Dark Arakoa, and my opponent immediately conceded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
I will say this: if you're looking to play this on the, if you're looking to advance quickly on the ladder right now, this is a great deck to play.
Yes.
I am actually I played up to 10, and I've lost back down into the teens, trying out some new things. One of the things that I have done in this area between the 13 and 9 mark is I've actually put Black Knight in almost every deck I'm playing, because I do end up running into a version of this deck probably once out of every 4 or 5 games. Either this or C'Thun Warrior or C'Thun Priest. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Lots of C'Thun in the early teens?
yes.
I've actually contemplated doing the Black Knight. My biggest worry was that I would get a really good ramp and my opponents wouldn't have taunts. And at that point, Black Knight's a dead card in your hand.
Yeah,
know
you
what?
misunderstood what I was saying. Not in this deck.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I'm
okay.
saying navigating through that. If you're not going to run this deck, it's worth putting Black Knight into your deck because of Brand Twin Emperor and early game Dark Arakoa.
You're not the only one, because I've been playing Reno Lock, I've been playing Tempo Warrior, and I've been playing Secret Paladin. The Secret Paladin deck we showed for our patrons. And all of those decks run taunts of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been seeing Black Knight a lot on the ladder.
Yeah.
So you're not the only one who's been thinking about putting it. It's becoming more prevalent now. And this deck that we're going to play tonight is a good example of why it's becoming more prevalent.
Black Knight and Black Knight and Harrison Jones are both heavy in the meta because of this deck and Tempo Warrior.
And Dragon Warrior.
And Dragon
Yeah, all Warrior.
If you are running the version of N'Zoth Rogue that we featured a couple of episodes back, Black Knight is absolutely amazing in combination with Shadowcaster in this meta.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and if you don't know about Shadowcaster, listen to the most recent episode of Happy Hearthstone, and we talk about Shadowcaster in depth.
It's the card of the week, and Zeroshio raps about it. Go check it out.
If not just to hear me rap. Me rap. Check out Happy Hearthstone.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I'm ready to see this deck in action. So are you guys ready to see this deck in action?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'm ready to drive it.
All right. So if you guys are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of the show. If you are listening via the audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us at this time. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast, and you can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show and you'd like to help support and improve it, you can do so by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/HeroPower. And as always, we'll see you again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty. So while we are getting set up to check this out, Zeroshio, why don't you tell us a little more about what you started to tell us about the amazing new feature at Viforce?
You mean that guy?
Versika, tell us. I was staring at you. Versika, tell us about the amazing new feature at Viforce.
Okay, there's like 3 people on this planet that might confuse Versika and Zeroshio.
I'm one of them.
I'm pretty sure that none of them can see. Sorry.
Oh!
Beginning of the show, we talked about something that
All right, guys, I'm done. See you next week.
Beginning of the show, we talked about, I talked about it, something new for Viforce. That's exciting, really. If you were looking, or you have even kind of off the wall considered buying a gaming PC sometime in the last year, now is your chance, because not only does Viforce already feature incredibly competitive pricing, they are now offering payments You can make payments on your Vi4 system. 6 months, no interest, and no payments. So you get to put a Vi4 machine in your home for 6 months. It doesn't garner interest, and you don't have to pay it. So let's see, June the 29th, right?
Yep.
So
That's
if you were to buy your system today, your first payment would be due sometime around December 29th.
Yep. That's the way I
But
understand it.
if you were to pay it off in that time, you get no interest. You can make payments on it for the next 6 months, no interest. That's an amazing deal. Check them out. www.heropowerhs.com. There's a link that'll take you straight to the page. Or if you want to skip us, viforcegaming.com. Just when you buy it in the notes, tell them you heard about it on Hero Power.
Absolutely. All right. So, Zeroshio, are you about ready to rock this?
I have not recovered from being mistaken as Versika.
Yeah. Matt at Arms in chat said, "GG Versika, you win."
It's not being mistaken as Versika. It's Versika's blatant protest to the fact. Anyways, okay.
Look,
Cydonia has to get through to it.
Just saying. Brandon, Alan, if you're listening to the show, I told you I'd get your names on somehow. Just so happened this way.
All right, we ready?
Yep.
Actually, a couple of weeks ago, they started bringing in some people that don't necessarily have the same life experience as we do into our workplace. It's been very interesting. I've learned a lot.
Nice.
Yep.
All right.
I wish I had my wife's skill at American Sign Language.
Gotcha.
I've gotten very fast at writing on it.
Just a quick question. Are we queuing into Wild for a reason?
I'm not in the wild.
Yes, you are.
Doesn't say wild on mine.
It's showing. Okay, so on my spectate, it shows you as rank 24 Wild.
That's weird because mine is showing rank 5 and I'm not in wild.
Interesting. All right. So our opening hand is Dark Arakoa, Harrison Jones, Raven Idol, Twilight Elder. What are you looking for on the mulligan?
I want to get my innervates and wild growths, but Raven Isle and Twilight Elder with the coin are too easy. I mean, I'm going to keep Raven Isle and Twilight Elder. And on my page, it shows me rank 5 standard against Kruniak, and he's rank 6 standard.
Okay, because we're showing him as rank 23 Wild.
That's really weird. I think that's a spectator glitch. I have heard there's been some spectator glitches lately, and this may be one of them. But I am currently ranked 5. Ooh.
And there's the innervate.
So we got a Druid of the Claw, and we got our C'Thun, and we got an innervate. We can Raven Idol, and we can even get out the Twilight Elder now if we wanted.
Yeah. I really kind of like... But see, you've got a 1-2-3 play if you Raven Idol, then next turn Coin Elder, and then next turn Innervate Druid.
It's true. So go ahead and Raven Idol for a spell?
I think so, yeah.
And with the minions we have in our hand, a spell's really... We're just looking for anything that may need us an answer. Mark of Nature is really good at getting rid of some decent minions, or putting up taunts. What do you guys think? Mark of Nature or Mark of Wild?
I think Mark of Nature will give you more versatility later in the game, because I don't think you're going to use either one of them early.
I think so too. And I like the turn 2 Twilight Elder.
Alright, he goes Loot Hoarder on his turn 1.
This may bait out a use of a weapon.
Yeah.
We drew into Fandral, which may actually... We'll see what we draw into. We're going to coin out the Twilight Elder, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I like that.
He would have to use Fiery War Axe and the Loot Hoarder to clear.
Yeah. We could innervate into the Loot Hoarder, but it's not really worth the mana, and I think he's going to have to 2-for-1 on that Twilight Elder.
You were going to innervate into the Loot Hoarder?
Innervate hero power into the Loot Hoarder.
Okay, gotcha.
And so he is going to do the Fiery War Axe Loot Hoarder like Versika predicted. So now we can innervate into the Druid of the Claw.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. And I think it's early enough that we should probably just go ahead and do the taunt. I don't think we necessarily need to charge.
Yeah, I wouldn't charge because it'd be too easy for it to remove. I'd like to bait out some form of execute.
Yeah.
Right.
Or maybe a low shield slam. He couldn't do it with just the hero power and clear it, so he'd have to be creative.
I think he's at least going to take 8 off of this.
I think so.
Unless he executes.
He executed it.
Which he is. Okay.
I am fine with that.
We'll take that all day long.
This plays right into C'Thun's Chosen.
Absolutely.
It sure does.
That's one thing. If you can keep on curve, because this curves us right into that Azure Drake we drew for next turn. If you can keep a nice solid curve every single turn, that's really what you need against any of the warrior matchups.
So he's going to slam to remove the shield.
Now that is the right play for him because that gives him a card, so that really negates the extra charge off the weapon.
Okay.
Just more removal going down the tube. I think this turn you Azure Drake.
Yeah, I mean we just drew a Disciple of C'Thun. We could hit the 3/3 with it and hero power into it, but that plays right into Acolyte of Pain. So the Azure Drake's probably the best play.
Yep.
He would have to spend 2 to clear it, and I don't.
And that just drew us into a turn 6 play Sylvanas.
I mean, this deck is so built around the curve, and it does so well. And what you don't get in the curve, you can ramp into with Innervates.
Right. So he plays a Bloodhoof Brave.
So if he doesn't clear the Azure Drake here, we can clear the Brave with Azure Drake and C'Thun and Disciple next turn.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go straight to face.
Which is good.
So if we Disciple, what do we follow that up with? Do we Mark of the Wild, or I'm sorry, Mark of Nature, and give the Disciple C'Thun Taunt, making it a 2/5?
You could, or you could give that to the Drake, making it after it attacks, making it a
honestly
4/6.
Yeah. If you're going to cast it now, I would cast it on the Drake after. Honestly, I think I would attack with the Drake, Disciple of C'Thun, and probably Wild Growth and burn a mana.
Wild Growth?
I would. But that's my play. Because I'm saving that Fandral to get
that Wild
both
Growth,
of those Mark of Nature.
That's true.
Yeah.
But they're not going to stay on the board.
But it also gives us the opportunity to play Sylvanas next turn and use the hero power.
That's true. That's true. Because he's probably going to
run the Acolyte into the 2/1.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
If he does that,
that does give us a hero power into it.
Yeah.
And he's going to Fiery War Axe into the Drake.
Which isn't terrible because that keeps more threats on the board for him to have to navigate around Sylvanas. We're at 20 health, so we're not really hurting too bad yet. Sylvanas, hero power into the Acolyte.
That's what I would do.
I like that.
So on his last turn, he played a no mission Venner and drew a card. So
yeah.
We just killed the Acolyte. So
he has a 3/1 Fiery War Axe, a 2/4 Gnomish Engineer, and a 3/3 Ravaging Ghoul. It's really awkward with Sylvanas. And he's gonna looks like he's gonna clear his board to clear out Sylvanas. Means he probably has a big threat coming out. Maybe Rag.
Matt at Arms in the chat is saying that this is the Warrior one-turn kill deck, and I think he's correct.
It could be. There's a lot of draw in it.
Yeah.
So now next turn, we're going to have 9 mana, and we just top decked Bran. But what do you think about Fandral Druid of the Claw?
I think I would brand Druid of the Claw.
Bran Druid of the Claw?
Yep.
Well, Bran doesn't give you any benefit from Druid of the Claw.
Yeah, it's a choose one.
I'm sorry, not Brand.
You meant Fandral.
Fandral Druid of the Claw, yeah.
We did draw into Bran Bronzebeard, so that
Right.
Yeah.
So if
I pulled an Avantes. I was looking at Fandral and said Braun.
Now, here's the question. Do we run it into the 2/6? Because that would make it a 5/2? Or do we just hold off?
I think you hold off and make him trade into it.
Yeah.
I agree. And then possibly make unfavorable trades, and we can use Mark of Nature. Possibly on Fandral.
Oh, there's his second execute.
That's what we were waiting on.
It really is, yeah. Now he doesn't have really much removal for C'Thun, to be honest. What?
And there's the one-turn
That's
kill.
the OTK.
Yeah.
Raging Worgen.
Man, with the charge.
Yeah.
And that actually dropped me from 5 to 6, so since you all can't see that part.
I can.
Are you see me correctly?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did not. So.
Leave spectate first.
It may be because Avantes has been playing in Wild.
That's possible, yeah.
It could be. I didn't think about that.
All right, I'm out of spectator, so I will re-spectate when we get in.
Go into play mode real quick and select the standard deck.
All right, I am
There
going
we
to
go.
spectate.
And we got a Rexar. Ghost Dave.
Yep, that fixed it. I guess I was seeing because I was in Wild, it was showing me what his Wild rank was.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
All right. We have a Harrison Jones, a Swipe, Living Roots, and a Dark Arco. I'm looking at... I really want to ditch all of this except for the Living Roots. What do you guys think?
I think that's a good
Honestly, I think I would keep Harrison.
With the coin?
Hunter.
Because you have the coin and you're playing the Hunter, that will ruin his mid-game if he's using the bow to clear.
That's fair enough. I think I'll do that. Keep the Harrison and keep the Living Roots.
And yeah, Matt at Arms, you did call it. And I felt like we made the correct play. He just happened to be able to clear it with that second execute.
And we drew into a Druid of the Claw, a Azure Drake, and then we pulled our Ragnaros a little early. Do we go ahead and make some 1/1s? Expecting a possibly fiery bat, or
Think so.
if you make the 1/1s and he pulls the fiery bat, then you have a chance of losing the other 1/1 when he clears it with the fiery bat. You can do that with the hero power. If you keep the living roots, you can do the 2 damage to the Knife Juggler if he's running it, or the huge
Very
toad.
true. Very true. We'll go ahead and pass. This is probably a huge toad. Yep.
And this is where I think you use your living roots.
Go ahead and use it now.
Yeah.
I would.
For 2 damage onto the toad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because 1 damage is better than 3.
And we drew into C'Thun's Chosen, which
Always Huffer.
always suffer.
So yeah, I think you coin out C'Thun's Chosen here.
Do we, or we save it for Druid of the Claw next turn?
I think you need to eliminate Huffer now.
So coin out C'Thun's Chosen?
either that or coin out the swipe, but I feel like that's wasted on the Huffer when you could use
Yeah.
Chosen and he'll probably trade into it.
I like saving the swipe for the infected wolf.
Yeah.
And this will make him make some decisions whether he's face hunter or mid range right now, and let us know how he's going to play. It's another key with hunter right now is you have to figure out how they're going to play because mid range is so popular. Oh wow!
Deadly shot. Answers for days.
This isn't.
But
well,
that'll get rid of Huffer.
Yeah, Disciple takes care of Huffer quite nicely.
Disciple C'Thun top deck.
Now this is probably Tundra Rhino or Bow Trap. So
Yeah.
Tundra Rhino it is. I feel like now is a great time to play that swipe.
What about Druid of Claw in charge? It's the same effect.
But then your Druid of the Claw is at 2.
Yeah.
But you're putting pressure on the board. So that's fine as long as you ditch the Tundra Rhino now because he usually only plays one.
Yeah, we don't want to leave that on the board, and I really don't want to use a swipe just for one minion that has 2 attack. I mean, obviously, its effect is why we're getting rid of it. But
That gets rid of a quick shot.
Oh.
we're just 1 for 1 and for days.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, a Naked Houndmaster. That's not bad.
No, so now you Arakoa. Or,
Yeah.
I like
Arakoa. You drew into your second swipe, but I mean, you're really 3 turns away from being able to use it in conjunction with Azure Drake.
Yeah.
2
Unless
turns.
we top deck and innervate. That's actually, well,
So now he fiery bats into a second Houndmaster, which is good.
yeah.
Oh, and we just top decked Veclor on
I would
curve.
go ahead and clear the fiery bat with the dark Arakoa and then play
Veclor?
Twin Emperor.
That plays right into it. And if he doesn't deal with these taunts well, we can Ragnaros.
Yeah.
And he's down with 2 cards in his hand, drawing into his third. That's not a lot with 8 mana. I mean, obviously, he's probably going to do the... Oh, I was thinking Call of the Wild might come out, but...
Yeah. So he just played a Huge Toad and a Stampeding Kodo.
See, I feel like here you YOLO rag and go to face.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Do we clear the huge toad with
No.
the 4/6?
No.
YOLO rag and go to face.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Little rag, face it up. Because face is the place, boys and girls.
Because if you clear the huge toad,
Wow.
you're weakening or killing off one of the taunts.
It's true. And they can't...
There's the Call of the Wild.
And this
Still,
is
that
kind of
doesn't
what
put
we
him-
were waiting for.
That doesn't put him in a great place. We can... Yeah, we can... As your Drake swipe, we can double swipe if we want to.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
honestly, I think the play here is still to Azure Drake swipe.
What am I swiping? The
I think
Misha?
I think you're swapping the Kodo, but I don't know.
Or swipe Leok? I mean,
I think I would swipe.
Leok takes
I would swipe
4 damage off.
Leok because if you swipe Leok, you're removing 2 damage from the board. He has to trade both into Rag to clear.
Yeah, and hopefully Rag hits one of them.
Yeah, and that also allows you.
But we
room
still
to do-
Azure Drake swipe, or
Matt
do we
at
double swipe?
Matt at Arms is voting double swipe.
I like the
You know,
double swipe.
Double swipe wouldn't hurt.
Swap on Leok, swap on Misha.
Yep. No point in being greedy. I feel like we have the momentum.
Yeah, that leaves 3 damage on the board. Maybe we hit it.
Rag clears.
Oh.
No.
Nope, goes
no.
to
Down to
face.
4.
Oh, if we would have swiped face. Wow. And see, that lowers the impact of Unleashed Sounds. Now he's
Yeah.
showing us his hand. He's probably going to concede.
No.
So here, what I think I would do is I would Fandral, Wrath the Stampeding, Hero Power the Hound.
Yeah, that's
And
what it
then
looks
just
like.
game.
And then pass the turn.
So that's checkmate.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to
Oh no! Yeah,
I'm going to Wrath the Hound so that we
Yeah.
don't set off the trap.
Yeah.
Yep, and he knew it too. Just in case there were some shenanigans with the trap. So,
Yeah.
like bear trap.
Snake trap.
Well, bear trap would have been the worst. Well, snake trap too.
Snake
because-
trap you would have attacked. It would have set off when you attacked the minion, and it would have given
Yep.
Rag more targets.
That's right. Bear trap wouldn't have set off because we're attacking a minion.
Right.
So
All right.
Who runs Snake Trap anymore though?
You'd be
True.
I mean,
surprised.
seriously, up at this
Game
level,
3?
you're
Well-
probably looking at net deck, probably
Yeah.
exclusively net deck, and 9 times out of 10, that's going to be an explosive or a bear.
we going for game 3?
Yeah. We're 1-1.
Only 845.
That's right.
Yep.
If your game will ever start.
If my game will ever start.
There we go. Mad at Arms runs Snake Trap.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
But he's ranked 10.
Still
But
okay.
if
Now
it's
this is
working-
good.
I don't see you taking it out when you get to rank 5.
I think the only thing you throw back here is probably Nourish. I would
I
keep
like an
Harrison
early
Jones
nourish.
the same way.
Yeah.
I like an early nourish.
You've
though.
got Hunter again.
Yeah.
But if that living roots was an innervate, I would keep the nourish. But I think you're right. We'll ditch the nourish, and yeah, keep it all. And we get the innervate. Curse you, tiny toilet!
All right, so kind of the same thing.
I'd say innervate out Twilight Elder and make him work for it.
That's what I was thinking. Because that is not a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah.
No.
And it leaves us the coin for Harrison. Possibly sooner if we wild growth next turn.
It also allows us on turn 3 to hero power living root something with 3 toughness.
True.
Infested wolves, maybe.
Quick shot into the.
That's fine. I'll
Yeah.
take that all day.
Yeah.
2 for
I
1
think we're
to
just
deal
going to
1 damage
wild
to
growth
us.
here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wild growth.
With the coin, that gives us a Fandral Living Roots if we really, really need it.
Yep. This is a bow turn.
Bow. Oh,
Carrying Grub. Okay, so he's definitely going more mid-range.
I worry about this because
But there's nothing you can do to clear it.
No.
Yeah.
This turn.
No, I like your idea of the Fandral living roots here.
do we Living Roots that for the off chance that he gets a Houndmaster on it?
I think so.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Percy?
Well, with Fandral, that's a 33% chance he hits Fandral with a deadly shot. I like those odds.
True. I didn't think about that. But I want to get some damage on that Carrion Grub, because usually if they turn 3 Carrion Grub, you're expecting a turn 4 Houndmaster.
Yeah. This may change his mind on that.
Yeah, because we could trade
Yeah.
into it. I mean, it would be a lot of our resources, but we could. Because it would make it a 4/5.
I think he either traps hero powers here, Toad hero powers, or
He could do the
bow,
bow, run into
fiery bat.
Fandral. The
There's
bow,
the
here's
There
the
you
bow.
go.
I don't think he has the fiery bat. I think he's going to burn a mana.
Yep.
Is this a...
This is a Harrison Jones
Yeah,
turn.
absolutely Harrison here.
And he didn't have a chance to get any kind of
Trap off.
trap behind it.
Yep. Yeah, you absolutely put a Harrison on there. He's already burned a deadly shot.
Wow. Already Unleashing the Hounds.
Kill.
And
Oh,
quick
there's the other
shot.
quick shot. I meant quick shot. Not
Yeah.
damage shot.
So that's a full board clear for him, and that puts us in prime for Dark Arakoa this turn.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's used both quick shots.
Yeah.
He's used one Call of the Wild, and he's down one bow. He is fast running out of answers.
We're at turn 6. We just put out, or technically turn 5, but at 6 mana, we put out Dark Arakoa. We have Ragnaros, Raven Idol, and Swipe in our hand. We're doing really well.
There's your Infested Wolf.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is going to be Raven Idol, Swap, Hero Power turn.
Raven Idol for a spell.
I would probably Raven Idol for a minion, because all you have in your hand is Ragnaros.
Oh, we know we're going to Ragnaros next turn.
Yeah.
I know, but that's why I'm saying a minion.
Okay.
It allows us to
Go with
continue
Rag. That makes
pressure.
sense. Ooh, another Twilight Elder.
I would chill Maw all day long.
Really?
Absolutely.
It's going to be really hard for him to get through the chill
It's
maw.
true. Now, do I clear the 3/3 and then swipe his face?
Yes.
I clear the 3/3, swap his face, and hero power and hit him in the face.
We don't want a Raven Idol again?
No.
Okay.
Build the armor, lay another point of damage on him. He's got to get through a 5/4 taunt, and next turn you're laying down Rag he has to deal with, and then the turn after that it's Chill Maw he has to deal with. There's no way.
And that lays right into what my thinking was. If we make sure that we keep our armor going, he's going to have less of a chance of his hero power doing anything.
Yeah. So I think here you still Rag, and then you try to clear that Toad, and if it's a freezing trap, you pop that freezing trap, and you still got a taunt in your hand.
Yeah.
It's true. So Rag first so that the 1 damage could possibly hit it.
Yep.
Yep. And then you're probably going to pop a freezing trap, but that's okay. That means you get to cast the Dark Arco for 8, but it wasn't.
No, it's,
And the 1
it's
damage
probably
with face.
explosive.
Yep, and the 8 hits him in the face.
Yep. We could just about win this by not attacking his face anymore.
Yeah,
That's very true. Next
he's
turn,
got
you play Chill Maw and pass, and
he's got a YOLO deadly shot here if he's got it, and he doesn't.
yeah. So, Chill Maw, run the Arco into the Elec, and pass.
I don't think there's any reason to Chill Maw. I think you Raven Idol for a spell and see what you get.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, because if you get
A
swap.
swipe, we win. Swipe.
And there it is. So I think you clear the Elec with the Dark Arakoa. Swap his face.
I'm gonna get a little fancy here. Boom.
All right.
Let him know that I mean business. Face
Little
first.
DM.
Elec. Only a little.
He's a hunter. He probably deserved it.
All right, picked up a star tonight. Good job, guys.
Awesome. All right. Well,
So that's it. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's and this deck is a little bit more tempo based than the way I play mine. I really like this variety, but you have to find the right time to play it on the ladder. If you see a lot of aggro or your aggro to mid range decks, you're going to do really well. If you face against a tempo deck or possibly a control deck, you might want to play something else.
yeah.
Avantes, you're making me dizzy.
You opening? Open the pack already.
All right.
I pulled a Malagos out of mine today.
Really
I already had him, so he was a welcome 400 dust.
nice.
40 dust. Good job.
Not 40, 400.
He got 40.
No, I got 40.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. All right, guys. Last thoughts. Versika, go.
Shark Week, hoo ha ha.
Shark Week. Hoo-ha-ha. Oh my god.
This is a family. This is a family show, sir. We don't talk about sharks hoo-has.
Sharp
Uh,
week. Sharp week.
No, seriously, this is the end of the month, and I know that my rank is a little low, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the ladder ranking because it is Shark Week, and I'm normally like completely off the grid this week. So, but have fun. Remember that you've got one more day. You've got tonight and all day tomorrow, and then that's it. So be well aware of your win conditions, and get out there and have fun. Make the last day of ladder, in my opinion, is one of the most fun because you don't know.
Yep.
I mean, you counter aggro and you don't know how far you can go. So if you do not like playing aggro, but you don't mind playing against it, control warrior, control shaman, or control priest, and you might find yourself in some great win streaks.
Even this C'Thun Druid is not terrible against aggro.
Yeah.
You put down threats to knock it out.
Yeah.
C'Thun Druid is solid. It is a solid deck. And what would you say the win percentage realistically is with this deck in the current meta? I would put it somewhere at 65 or 70%.
I'm running 67% with it.
There you go.
As when I'm looking at all my numbers for C'Thun Druid, not just this deck of C'Thun Druid, I'm running 67%.
Okay. Awesome.
It's a well-balanced deck.
Yeah, it really is. Zeroshio, last thoughts.
My plan was to possibly make a last-minute legend run since I'm actually pretty close. But if y'all have been paying attention and listening to the show and watching the show, I'm between jobs. Tomorrow's my last day at my current job. And I've had some interviews, and things are looking positive, so I may be busy finalizing some job opportunities. So hopefully that works out for me, and we're also going to be playing some Overwatch, so have fun with that. But remember, these Tavern Hero tournaments are coming up in the next month to get ready for the summer preliminaries. Get out there, compete. Put your name in the hat. We'd love to see you. If you get any success stories about your run trying to go for the prelims and go to these Tavern Hero tournaments, email them to us. Go to heropowerhs.com, click on the Contact Us link, and tell us your story. We'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. That's going to do it for us this week.
Oh, one more.
Yes.
If we hadn't said it, congratulations to Max.
Max qualified this past Saturday.
That's right. So we have two qualifiers, two Tavern Hero qualified out of the Knoxville area. Max is one of them. Congratulations. Good job, Max.
I also want to throw a huge congratulations and shout out to Legend of the Innkeeper. They had their 100th episode last night. And if you guys didn't get to see it live, go check it out. They had Dean Ixar Ayala from Team 5. It's a Hearthstone developer. It was a very good show. Very good conversation was had. Go check it out.
And fun guaranteed.
Fun guaranteed. All right, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button below on YouTube if you've not done so already. Give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted to when we go live. And remember to check out our Patreon because we've got some really cool stuff we're planning going forward. We're going to be changing up our Patreon a little bit. So for those of you who are already patrons, we think it's going to be even better. For those of you who are on the fence about joining us, pay close attention because we've got some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline.
And we will be doing an additional patron episode again this weekend like we have been.
Yep.
The last, 4 weeks?
4 or 5 weeks? 5 weeks, I think. So for more details on that, go to patreon.com/heropower. And as always, guys, good gaming.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.